All right, there we go. We're finally back live. Here we go. What have I got here? Oh, I've got banners. I completely forgot about these as well. I'll sort some of these out as we go.
What's it live on?
YouTube.
Your YouTube?
No, Departer. So if you go FPL Departer, you'll get the link there.
Hoping it drops the link in the Discord.
Who knows if it's going to drop the link. The amount of times that link's gone off.
Surely it has. But anyway.
All right. We'll wait for Dom to sort out the Twitter stuff. Let me get the league code because I've got that handy. And I'll have that as a banner as well.
Put it in the Discord.
I've got it in the Discord now. I've got the link.
What's in the Discord? All right, there we go. Banners up.
Nice.
Let's do it. You ready to go, Dom?
Wait. No.
If you're in the chat, let us know already, guys. I can see there's some eyes there. So let's make sure if you've got any questions, get them in early.
How can you see the people in the chat?
Make a start. Well, they've just disappeared. In the top left corner, it's got live viewers for me.
I don't have that.
We'll wait for Dom to be 100% ready, and then we'll make a move.
Done?
All right. So for the recording, I'm just going to do a bit of a 3, 2, 1, and then...
Yeah,
what is this? Oh, God. Get rid of that. Oh, shit. Cancel. All right, we're good. I don't know. I was mucking around with something. All right. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the FPL show. Hopefully, you are doing well and you are ready to go for Game Week 4. If you're not ready for Game Week 4, that's why we are here right now. Gentlemen, I've got Damo and Dom with me once again. How are we going, boys?
Yeah, not too bad, Paulie. Not too bad at all. Nice to be back home and with these lovely fellows for another pod.
Yeah, Dom, how you going?
Once again, happy to be here. Ready to get into another week.
The main thing for you guys that are listening over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts is we are back on the live broadcast of the FPL show over at FPL Departer on YouTube. So if you haven't already, make sure you go over there, give the stream a like. It will still be up as a previous recording. Make sure you give it a like, make sure you subscribe, and get your comments in the comment section below. So following on from tradition, I think we need to start with the lowest scorer and do a little bit of overviews over our teams. Once again, low scorer of the round was me. I think I was the lowest scorer in round 1 too, wasn't I? So
I believe you were.
Just
only by a point or two. So I'm going to whack my screen up on the page right now so I can't actually see what's going on for...
You're good.
The stream point of things, but here we go. I got 43 points. It was an absolutely dreadful week for me. I did put a video up on my personal channel about this where I've gone into a bit more depth around my team. So if you do want to see that, head over to Paulie29 on YouTube. Pickford 2 points, very disappointing. Chilwell was stupid, and Vardiol. Kyle Walker cost me 5 points there because Vardiol was in line for a bonus point, and then he goes and backheels the ball to Sheffield United, and they go and score. And Bumo, Matoma, that happens. 6.5 midfielders are not going to return every single week. So it is what it is. When they blank together, though, it hurts. Salah and Saka both returning, and that Salah 93rd minute assist was massive for me. Then Jackson with 7, fantastic. Haaland, captain, disappointing. He missed a penalty. And my punt for this week was João Pedro over Udogie, which, if I made the other call, which, I would have gained 11 points and I would have got a green arrow instead of a red arrow. But as things stand, I've slid all the way out to 1.1 million on the overall rank. But I still think the team is in a pretty good spot overall. It's just that I had a few things go against me this week. Dom, I reckon you're up next.
Yep, stuck in the middle again.
Whack your team up.
Share my screen.
And Damo, if you want to get yours ready to go as well.
Yeah, ready.
Do you see that?
Yep, you're on.
Yeah. So once again, Pickford. I'm sure we're going to touch on him. I feel like we need to touch on him.
Yeah.
Stupinian, Chilwell, same as Paul. Rico Henry. Did you field Rico Henry as well?
I don't own him.
No. Okay, so he got 2 bits.
I've got Vardiol as that other defender.
Yeah. Okay. Rashford 7. Everyone's got him. And Bueno same. My star of the week. Musa Diaby again. Assist and an absolute peach of a goal too. I'm just so happy with that pick. Saka 8. Everyone's got him. Nicholas Jackson finally got us that return. And me and Paul messaging at about, I think, 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. I was messaging him like massive, wake up. And he was dead to the world, but so glad he finally got that goal. Haaland 8, captain. I think everyone was in that same boat. And unfortunately did the same as Paul. Last minute went João Pedro in for Destiny first sub 12.
We were speaking about that on Saturday, weren't we? About what we were going to do. Oh, Friday, sorry, about what we were going to do.
Yeah.
And what it came down to was Brighton had the home fixture against West Ham, which should have been a good opportunity for attacking returns. That didn't happen. The other factor was Enciso gets injured. The natural assumption is that we're going to get the return there, with Pedro starting. News did come out on, Friday, that Ferguson was going to start. Maybe in hindsight, that was the point where, we go, is he actually going to start? We didn't think that Welbeck and Ferguson would have started together, and that was what we had to weigh up. So it is what it is.
Oh, well.
All right, Damo.
Here we go, lads. So obviously after my hiatus last week, we have come back and we have topped the charts out the free yet again. 61 points, safety rank of 51. So another green arrow, putting me into the 150k mark. Look, I'm going to talk about the different players that what we have compared to you guys. Colwill, now obviously Destiny Udogie, I wish I had him too. But at least my whole idea of having Colwill was to double up on the Chelsea defence during this fixture run. Obviously, hindsight would have been Malo Gusto as a good shout, but very happy to have the man. I do think he picked up a knock in the Cabaret Cup today, so we'll monitor that. But obviously, that
long-term Colwill's the better pick than Gusto anyway.
Correct, but that's more of a short-term pick until obviously Botman comes into the fray with Newcastle, and then obviously you're looking to move to here.
He's got that knock too, so you never know with Botman.
We don't know it indeed. But look, that's the main reason why I've got some more points than the rest of the lads, is obviously having the second Chelsea defender. Nice to be doubled up on a decent defence that has good fixtures. The other ones there for me, obviously, I've said it before, before game week 1, and I'll say it again. Bruno is going to score a lot of points this year. He looked good in the first 2 game weeks with no reward, with his XGA being quite high. And then we finally see Man United get a penalty. Nice to have him on the park. Wish we captained him, obviously, because Haaland blanks, but sort of blanks. But yeah, and then, obviously, James Maddison's been in the team since game week 1. If you don't have him, highly would recommend. And those 2 I want to mention because I don't know when you guys play FPL, but I have guys that I'm like, you are in the team 38 games. Do not leave, right? And for me, most players for me are Maddison, Bruno, and Chilwell, and borderline in Buemo as well. So
nice to see that Haaland's not one of them for you.
Haaland's obvious, right?
With his 90% ownership.
Yeah, but Maddison and Bruno obviously are 2 that are locks. Saka, Salah, obviously me and Paulie went off our tree when that happened. And then obviously Joe Pedro's a bit of an interesting one. My bench is my bench. We already have Botman after last week's moves where I wasn't alive to tell you. But, things look good. We won most of our mini leagues and,
Beautiful. That's what I want to see. So, look, I think for most people at the moment, the main issues that they're facing are more or less around their goalkeepers. A lot of people have jumped on the Pickford train with us, which is quite concerning. I think that's probably the best place to start because for Jordan Pickford, I might just share my screen once again. So sorry if you are listening along from home because there's going to be a lot of screen sharing today. So that's maybe a bit of an indicator to come over to see the podcast live. The thing with Everton is this fixture run here where they go Sheffield United, Arsenal, Brentford, Luton, Bournemouth, Liverpool, West Ham, Brighton, up until that sort of wild card region. People might think that's not a great fixture run, but if you've paired him with Matt Turner, in game week 5, you get Burnley, and in game week 9, you get Luton, both at home. So the rotation's there. The concern is that we've already seen Everton not keep a clean sheet this morning against Doncaster. So that's one way to look into it, is what are we going to do? I'm of the opinion that you don't burn a transfer on your goalkeeper unless you've got two and nothing else to do, and then you're going to roll it, into nothing. That would be the only time that I look at making that transfer. So some options that I've been looking at, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this because everyone's talking about Flecken. I wouldn't be going near the Crystal Palace goalkeepers. People are looking at Onana, but I'm not convinced by Man United defence. What do you guys think at 5 million about Vicario at Tottenham?
I like him as a shot stopper and someone that gets saves points. I do expect Spurs to still concede quite an amount of goals, though.
Yeah, I think, we're talking about their attacking fixture run being really, really solid. The only reason I wouldn't do it personally is because I've got Udogie. So I don't think Tottenham's a defence that I'm quite ready to double up on. But when you look at from this week, Burnley, Sheffield, then you cop 6 and 7, Arsenal, Liverpool, but then you get Luton, Fulham, Palace up to game week 10. I think that is a very, very solid fixture run. What are you guys thinking about your goalkeeper situation at the moment?
Well, you go first, Dom. What are you thinking about your situation with your keepers?
You take this one.
I'll take this one. All right. Look.
Yeah, take it.
It's a weird one because I haven't discussed my already-made transfer, and Paul knows that, Pickford is someone that I'm sort of betting against this week whilst playing. And we'll touch on that a bit later because I'm going weird and wacky. I don't think you sell him this week, and I only think you sell him for the upcoming fixture run if it's a luxury transfer.
Yeah.
Because Turner seems to be okay. I will say definitely don't make a transfer right now. The window does close in a day's time for the English window, and we need to make sure that Turner still be the number one past the window before you make any other transfers. I will say I am definitely leaning to selling Pickford next game week at the moment to Areola, and that is only because I'm going very weird and wacky with my other transfers that will fund me money to get from Bulldog to Trippier. But that's because my team's taking a weird shape.
Yeah.
I don't recommend that to anyone else. I've been burnt by the two 4.0s last year in Iverson and Danny Ward.
Yeah.
But I really do think we've seen enough from West Ham now to know Areola is going to be a solid pick for decent fixture run longer term. I also want to say one word of warning is, you're probably wildcarding around game week 9. You're probably wildcarding game week 13 or you're wildcarding game week 19. If you're at the earlier stage of that, you probably don't need a goalkeeper transfer. If you're planning on game week 19, maybe something to look at.
Yeah, I like that. And look, there are a couple options. I think if Emi Martinez is fit, I think Villa with their fixture run coming up at 5 million is a really good shout as well. So there are some options there, but I think right here, right now, I don't think this is the week to make that move, in particular if it is Jordan Pickford, because there is over the next couple game weeks, there's some good opportunities there for clean sheet. And I'm hoping that with Beto signing from Udinese, might improve the attack a little bit, might take a bit of pressure off. He did score this morning. It was a nice finish as well. So look, I'm thinking that if Everton take a couple of chances, it just sort of changes the vibe of that Fulham game and the Wolves game. Like if they're out in front and in control, they can then sit in and probably don't concede those chances on the break that they have conceded because they weren't taking their chances. So the pressure was on and they were dominating. That's the thing people are forgetting is that Everton dominated those two games, Wolves and in particular Fulham. If they just take a couple chances, then they can play the game on their terms. So I'm not going to overreact because I'm in a position where I've got one transfer anyway. I really need to have two. I'm not going down the road of hits again like I did last year because I threw points away last year that I didn't need to. So goalkeepers, I don't really think there's one there that you have to throw away right here, right now. I think give it the international break, see what happens, minimum, and if you've got luxury trades, go for it.
Yeah.
How do we feel about that?
I think that's pretty good. Also got to think the goalkeepers that you would move to, Edison, got 6 points? No, didn't even get 6 points. Got 2 points on the weekend.
Yeah.
Same thing, 1.5 million more. All the keepers that you're really interested in, got 6 or 7 points. It's only
the only one that hold was Jose Sarr because he made big saves. I don't think there was a penalty save, was there this week?
Nah, I don't think there was.
Jose Sarr got save points and a clean sheet against Everton. So that was he was the big one. But would you back a Wolves goalkeeper long term? Of course you would.
No,
so
correct. So I
you
feel
can't
like
pick that stuff.
out of any of the transfers you're ever going to look to make, the goalkeeper one's the one you can wait on the most because the gap between points isn't massive.
And you can't predict when someone makes 8 saves and keeps a clean sheet, like Pickford has done multiple times. So
look, if you really want to be brave, I think if there's ever a week that the keeper will do that, it's probably Turner at Forest against Chelsea this week. So
potentially. All right, so there is one thing I do want to touch on, and this is going to lead into obviously some of our transfer talk as well coming back. I think a lot of people, especially over the YouTube scene, are talking about those midfielders and what they're going to do with their midfield slots. A lot of people have the double up Arsenal Man United. So I wanted to bring up some data here, which is focused around the expected goal involvement for everybody. So anyone in the 4.7, I might knock it back to 4.5 just in case there's some defenders that maybe get into this bracket. But every single player, outfield player from 4.5 to 9 million, defender mid forward. That covers everyone except for Haaland in the 4.0 defenders, doesn't it?
And Salah.
And Salah. Yeah, I don't want to include Salah. We won't include Salah. That's fine.
No, I don't need to.
Because he's not that highly owned anyway. So top of the charts for expected goal involvement through 3 game weeks is Bruno Fernandes, who surprisingly has had 13 shots already this season, which is the highest amongst the top 10 for expected goal involvement. The reason I didn't pick Bruno was because I thought he'd be deeper this year and more an assist threat. So his XG is 1.81, and that includes a penalty, which is about 0.7, I think, off the top of my head.
0.79, I think.
0.7 something. So he's still got a 1 expected goal, and he's not performed that. And he has missed a header and another sitter from inside the 6-yard box this year. But he's also got a expected assist, which I can't see. But it should be 2. XA is 2. There it is. Yeah. So it's 2. So he's underperforming his data. So Bruno is somebody that we need to look at after this Arsenal. I mean, there's a potential he returns against Arsenal, but coming out of that Arsenal fixture, I think he's someone that we need to really target moving forward. He's made 10 key passes, created 4 chances, had 13 shots for 2 returns. The minute that clicks, and those 2 returns were at the weekend. Oh, no, he had 1 return at the weekend. The minute that those chances turn into conversions, and 5 of his 13 shots have been from inside the box. So Bruno, as soon as I filtered this data, I was like, holy crap, I need Bruno Fernandes because he's gettable. I don't think he's due a price rise until next week if he returns anyway. I'm happy for him to go up 0.1, and I'll go after him next week because I've got money in the bank. In second place, just behind him with a 3 XG, is Brian Mbeumo. Again, you've got to remember that he's had 2 penalties. So 1.4. Right 1.8 of his 3 is in 2 penalties. So just take it with a pinch of salt. And his expected assist is really low at 0.38. So he's a pure goal threat. But he's had 7 shots, 5 on target, and all 7 of those were inside the box.
And one of them he missed from inside 6 yards against Spurs.
In game week 1.
Yes.
Yeah. Correct. Which would have been about a 0.6 XGA. Quickly on Bruno, price rises. He's at negative 84%.
Wow. So people are just probably looking at no data there. They're going off of the returns.
Instead of his trend being massively negative and his price expecting to drop, it's actually meant to hold at negative 84%. So I don't think that price is going to move. All right.
But there's not a world where unless he goes and scores 2 and gets an assist at the weekend, he's probably not going to go up next week anyway then. So he is someone who I am targeting big time next week after the international break. So
my question to you two boys now, after watching that and looking at that Bruno Fernandes data, do you now think Bruno will outscore Rashford for this season after 3 game weeks?
I want to see Rashford more on the left.
Yeah, he's not been good at his 9. I think Højlund's back.
After the international break.
And I think that makes Bruno better because you're getting more end product out of Rashford and you're getting Højlund up front. I think Bruno, all of a sudden, these XGAs is going to turn into more XG. I
also think if this Amrabat deal happens in the next 24 hours, that'll free Bruno up as well from that deeper role. Although he's already heavily involved, but he gets more of a license to go forward. All right, so moving through, the next 2 boys both have a 3 XGI as well, which is Saka and Jackson. Jackson's had 11 shots, and 10 of those have all been inside the box, and only 5 of his 5 of his 11 have been on target. So if Jackson can just start putting some chances on target, then he's going to absolutely fly up in returns. His expected points are 18, and he's got 9 back. So he's literally missed half of his expected points so far. So Jackson, again, with the fixtures and the data, absolutely happy with it. Then to round out the top 10, you've got Watkins, Madison, Bowen, Diaby, Estupinan is the only defender in the top 10. And then Matoma, surprisingly, at 2.3 XGI through 3 game weeks. So what I wanted to get out of that for you guys, though, is how dominant Bruno has been. And actually, Bowen's had 11 shots through 3 games for a team that's sitting back counter-attacking and then, trying to go on the break. Bowen also has a 0.8 XA, and he is also someone that I'm looking at, although the fixtures aren't, fantastic for West Ham. If you were to look at those numbers, is there anyone there that's jumped out to you that maybe you didn't consider beforehand?
I think all those players are always been considered,
Or any big shocks, because there's one big shock on there for me that's not there in the top 10.
Oh, that's not there that you think is... So they're obviously underperforming.
Who I thought was going to be there because of the returns. No. So they've had good returns, and I just assume that the data would have looked good too, and that everyone's transferring in this week.
Solly March? No, they got a bad run.
They've got a bad run now. I thought March would have been there. Sterling. Especially with the Luton game, I thought his numbers would have been inflated enough. The fact that he's at a 19, this is what I want to get out of it. Sterling had a really good game in game week 2 against West Ham with no return. Didn't do much against Liverpool, but then he goes and gets a 19-pointer and he's still not in the top 10 for XGI through 3 game weeks. So that's what I'm trying to push at. You can get the returns with low data, or you can have high data and miss out. So that's really what I was trying to emphasize there. We got a good question here from Dim talking about Matoma. How does Ansu Fati affect his numbers? Damo, you can back this up for me. I was already looking at Matoma out next week anyway, which has come at the perfect time, because by the time the international break comes around and Fati gets embedded in that team, I don't want a piece of that Brighton attack.
No, I think it's now time to get off the Brighton attack at the moment. I think there's too much rotation. Joe Pedro seems to be out of favour. Enciso, when he comes back, is another body. Don't think Matoma's just going to magically be dropped either, if you want to hold him.
Yeah.
But European football starts after the break as well.
Yeah, I just think you're better off going to a Diaby. You're better off going to an Eze, whose numbers are still really good, even though he's gone down in value. You're saving money there as well. You're better off doing all those sort of things.
Yeah, Dom, thoughts?
Yeah, you also got Fati's always injured. He's takes one big crunching tackle from James Tarkowski or someone. He'll be done again. I wouldn't be worried about it. I think he's more backup for those European minutes.
So if I told you that Raheem Sterling and Evan Ferguson had the same XGI, what would you respond to that with?
I can see it. Ferguson had a few big chances in game week 1.
He scored a goal.
And when he...
They both have a 2 XGI.
When they pumped, what's its name, in game week 2, Matoma went crazy. I think Ferguson had a few chances again.
Against Wolves.
Yeah.
When the game was dead. All right, so that's just what I wanted to bring to the table. For me, it was interesting that Wissa and Alvarez weren't in the top 10 as well. I'm just thinking of guys that, everyone's transferring in, everyone in the community is talking about. There are some names on that list that, aren't getting a lot of attention. Bruno, everyone's talking about transferring him out. And Buemo, everyone's talking about bringing in. Saka, everyone's kind of in the middle, but everyone owns him. Jackson, everyone wants in. Watkins, people are 50-50. Madison, everyone wants in. But Bowen's name haven't heard it. Diaby's name, haven't heard it. And no one's really spoken about Matoma. And March was in 11 Dom. So he was just outside. And he's actually got the same XGI as Matoma. So they've, got the same XGI. But March has 26 points and Matoma has 18. So that's just, the luck of the draw there. But Solly March has had 10 shots to Matoma's 4. So that's worth noting as well. All right. Anything that you guys want to highlight before we move into transfer plans and questions?
No, because my transfer plans are crazy.
All right. Well, for me, I might start with my transfer plans, and we might go reverse. We might go the same order we did the team reveals in, because Damo, I know yours is going to take a bit of time.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull my team up for this week on screen, because if you did follow along last week, and let me just stop that screen share and let me start the new one, because you should recognize my team, because it has not changed a bit except for one sub. So Udoji comes in for João Pedro for me this week, because as I mentioned before, I really do want to focus on banking a transfer, because it's something that I don't get to do too often. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share a different tab with you guys, and this is my game week team for next week. There's a name in there, Damo, that has joined my team for game week 5. That is Bruno Fernandes for
Good lad.
Matoma.
Yep.
I want to get through this Arsenal game. Then he goes Brighton, Burnley, Palace, Brentford, Sheffield United, potentially up to my wild card. So I think with the numbers and the thing for me and Bruno was eye test. When I've seen him inside the box, I've gone, okay, I didn't expect that from him this year. I was expecting him deeper, more creative, not, making those real darting runs late into the box. So got that one wrong. I did start with Rashford. If I'd started with Bruno, I might have kept him, but then it would have meant that I didn't have Mbumo. So I think, that works out long term for me. This still keeps me with one transfer in the bank with 1.5 mil. Game week 2, the plan is Pedro down to Archer, and you can see that I've got Sterling sitting there. There's no way that's going to be Sterling anymore, and it's going to hopefully turn into Maddison at 7.7 with some cash in the bank. So that's dependent. Obviously, he picks up the Arsenal-Liverpool fixtures, but I think Maddison's someone who's just fixture-proof and, can play him against anybody, because if they're going to score goals, Maddison has to be there. Yeah. So that's my long-term transfer plans. Dom, what are you thinking about doing for this week?
So funnily enough, I'll share my screen. I have regretted. I've already made my transfer, and I definitely regret it. I think it was because I was up and delirious, and I don't know why I did this. I've traded out during the Chelsea game after his second assist. I think the game was still going on. I've traded out a Greek international, George Baldock, for Malo Gusto, and I'm just thinking, why the hell did I do that? I don't even think he had a price rise. Oh,
yeah, he did. He went up to 4.1.
Yeah, but I don't know why I did. I think I was just delirious, or
look, it gives you a more playable 4 million option if James is not fit.
James will still be a while away, but they've got the good run until the wild card in game week 9 when I'm planning to wild card. But yeah,
I don't mind that as a short-term pick if you're prepared to ride him on the bench from after the international break if James is back. That's really, he's someone that you have to be mindful of, though, if you're going to play him or not, because I think he'll come on every game for James for 15 minutes or so at the end.
That's the thing. I think James is still a while away, and I think they've seen now that Gusto is a good player, and he, in that role, in that wing-back role, he can play it really, really well. He's, handy defensively, and we've seen he can produce going forward. So I think they won't rush James back, because for the first time since James has cemented his spot, they have an actual proper backup and a serviceable backup. So I think they'll integrate James in slowly, and we know when it gets to that, it might be around the time of wildcard, or I'll just have him on my bench, But
Yep.
So at this stage, benching these two boys. Stupinian may come in, but I don't know who for. If anyone's got any suggestions, but I think I want to run it against Liverpool.
I'd write it how you've got it. I think.
I think I got to go Diaby against Liverpool. I think.
Yeah. Well,
as good as Liverpool have been, Liverpool is shaky defensively, and he's been brilliant. And if he scores or gets an assist, I just won't be happy. So I think that's what I'm going to do this week.
Brighton's defense isn't great either, so you're only banking an attacking return against Newcastle, which Liverpool did score
Newcastle.
Yeah, and I just think Newcastle after last week as well, they're going to be playing a bit differently. They're not, that was a real shock for them last week losing to Liverpool. So, look, without longer term, who are you thinking? Have you started sort of using any of those tools to try and structure your team?
kind of, but I don't like going too far ahead. But in the long run, I've still got 6.0 on my bank with the Salah down to Salah. I think like yourself, I think Maddison will be coming in eventually. It's just a case of who for. If I,
got to move
bin
someone.
off this guy or just. But I think going over the international break, I'm going to bank a trade pending no injuries for the boys.
Okay, so you've used one transfer.
Yeah, I've used one, and then next week I'm going to ride the team, and then bank
So
it
you
for
have
game
two.
week.
So you have two
6.
going in for 6,
Okay.
not 5.
Yes. I think I'll ride it for 5.
Oh, okay.
And then
So you have
6.
one for 5.
A couple of my matchups go a bit the other way. Yeah, so we got like a North London derby in there. I got to look at that.
Yeah,
but
that's the one that worries me for Maddison a little bit. That North London derby, but
it's away as well.
Yeah, but that's good though because Arsenal actually struggled to defend at home. So that, and then you go to United who were struggling to defend. So are those two fixtures actually that bad? And we'll talk about that, through the international break more than now.
Matter goes Arsenal then Liverpool.
Oh, sorry, Liverpool, not Man United.
Yeah, but still,
I've already played Man United. They beat them.
The only defense I wouldn't.
Sucks.
The only defense I probably wouldn't, want to be going against at the moment is probably City.
Yeah.
Newcastle are what they are. Yeah, well, Kyle Walker was just giving his childhood team.
Oh, I was so mad. I was watching that live, and I saw my 5 points go down the drain. As soon as he's done that stupid back heel, I messaged both of you individually, I think, too.
Yeah.
I think it woke me up.
Oh, that was annoying. Anyway,
well,
Damo, load your screen up.
I'm ready.
Fantasy Football Hub, I think.
Here we go. So we're going to be clicking on
Skip the Premier League website, straight to Hub.
No. I need to set the scene. So I'm in a pretty decent spot game week wise. However, I don't like the way my team's going, and a lot surrounds the boy called Mo Salah, but we'll touch on him in a sec. If you guys have a look at my midfield 5, my back 3, and my keeper, it's not too bad for this game week. You would agree, right? And Haaland obviously is on the park and captain. Yep. It's a pretty good team. I want 2 game week transfers for post the international break coming up, just in case there's a few big injuries. Just in case. Which means we either burn a transfer, we make a luxury transfer, or I take Salah out, which is hard to do after 3 returns. So, up front, starting this game week, is a luxury transfer. And I am targeting my own goalkeeper in Everton's defence, and his name is Archer. That is correct. We are targeting Archer. I know that sounds funny, but there's a couple of reasons to it. All right, and if I go to the hub, the team's loaded in hub, but the main reason is if you go to price changes and you get the man that is Mbama, he's about to drop in price. He may hold on for this game week, but he's about to drop in price. Second reason I've made this move is because I need to make sure that I don't lose any money on Mbama because I need to get to Trippier in a couple of game weeks. Now,
is the issue with Mbama because everyone's wildcarding this week?
It's because everyone's wildcarding. He hasn't played and he's got 13% ownership. He's now down to 11.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why you go Archer is because he's got the number 10 shirt for Sheffield. Only didn't play on the weekend because he was signed on the day of the game and couldn't get him registered in time. So I think long term, he's going to be starting for a side.
And they've been chasing him all off-season.
They've been chasing him all window, basically, as well. Now, that leads me into next game week, and I'm going to do something even more crazy next game week. They went back to game week 4, 5, thank you. Right. Joe Pedro is obviously a bit of a mistake, right? Everybody would agree. I think there's another 4.5 man that we need to discuss. His name is Semenyo. Now, Bournemouth signed him for biggish money last season. He started the last 2 games. He looks powerful, strong, physical, and looks like in this very pressing, aggressive Bournemouth side is going to be the main man up front. I think for the first time in a long while, what I'm trying to say to you guys is I think 4-5-1 is very viable. Yeah. And you can fixture swap Archer and Semenyo when they have very good fixture runs.
Can I just stop you there for a sec, Damo?
Yep.
We were just looking at the top XGI for the top 10 players. There was 2 strikers, and this is excluding Haaland, 2 strikers and a defender. So 7 midfielders in that list.
Yeah, it's a midfield.
I think 5 midfielders is a real viable option.
Yeah, and I think having one up front, which is Haaland, and then fixture swapping is not the worst. And if you have a look at Archer's now fixtures, they've got Everton now. You get Fulham in game week 8 as well. If you want to play two up front. With Semenyo, who I've actually been pretty impressed with Bournemouth. You still can pick up a leaky Brighton defence if you want in game week 6. But you also get Wolves and Burnley and Everton in a row in game weeks 8, 9 and 10.
Yeah, I like that.
Right? For a guy that, will be playing alongside or with Solanke. What it also means is that gives me 2 mil in the bank as it stands. And that is my potential route where I could move, if I want to, home or the Trippier, depending on price rises and price falls. It's also a potential move where I could move a Stupin if he's still being really poor, not keeping clean sheets and have money in the bank. Yeah. And also gives me the option to remove Salah for West Ham, Tottenham and Brighton, and then wildcarding back in after game week 9 when Liverpool's fixtures turn again. Yeah. So I think, as much as it's crazy, I'm moving down the path of 2 4.5 mils, strikers, 4-5-1, and I also think Pickford to Ariola to free up that little bit of extra funds just so I might be able to get Bulldog up the Trippier as well.
Yeah. Dom, what are your thoughts of that? Because I heard this yesterday for the first time and I had to listen to your message a few times to unpack it all. But what are your thoughts there, Dom? Because it is quite unconventional.
That's very, very, very.
This is around the same time last year we took Haaland out of our teams too.
That's not happening.
With your rank, Damo, it's a big move. I think rolling without one of the second tier strikers in Jesus, Watkins, Jackson.
The only way I can get to them is selling Salah, and after 3 returns in a row, it's very hard to do that before Aston Villa. I will say right now, if Salah ends up going to Saudi, we obviously sell him.
Nah, he's not going.
He's not going. Not now.
I doubt that. And the player I'm bringing is Diaby, which frees up a ton of funds. I think
Diaby's a better buy next week anyway.
Correct.
So,
and I also think there is a world where I sell Salah next week as well and just get him back on wildcard anyway. My only issue is that we've seen from Salah he's fixture proof. And if he keeps up the average 5 points, he gets 190 points in the season, which if you can pick up 3 midfielders, which I think is Bruno, Maddison and Salah getting 190 plus Haaland, you're going to have a very good year.
Yeah. So, Dom, how does that sit with you? So we know the strikers is a problem, but I think there's an argument for loading up on the midfield.
Yeah, it's a midfielder's year this year. 100% a midfielder's year.
When you get Mbumo as a midfielder, that's the cherry on top, isn't it? He's playing as a striker.
Yeah,
listed as a midfielder.
I think 4-5-1 Damo is ballsy, but I think if you're going to go 5 in the mid, it's still going to be 3-5-2. But
the thing
you're ranked 105k and I'm ranked 2 million, so.
The thing is that I can still fixture swap when the strikers get good fixtures.
Yeah, I think it's not about the fixture swap. It's more about having a recognised goal scorer.
Well, then the question is then for you, Dom, do I sell Salah then to get to Jackson or Watkins?
I like that option that you've done with the 2 4.5s because it's not Semenyo can get returns. We've seen that. Bournemouth at home are very different to Bournemouth away from home. So if you can target Bournemouth home games, I know he scored against Liverpool at Anfield, but I think if you can target Bournemouth at home, I think there's worlds where Semenyo gets assists or goals at 4.5 if your defenders even have tough fixtures. So you could easily be a 4-4-2, 3-5-2 sort of shape. That's going to be that fluid shape for you. And if defenders have hard fixtures, then you throw one of Archer or Semenyo in. I think they're playing for 2 teams that are defensively pretty solid as well. I think Sheffield look all right from what I've seen. They gave Man City a really good run for their money at Bramall Lane, and Sheffield at home, they're going to be hard to beat. Was that their first home game of the weekend? Or did they open the season at home? I can't even remember now. Let me have a quick look. Game week 1, Sheffield played Crystal Palace and lost 1-0. They lost 1-0 to Crystal Palace, who again is a solid Premier League side. Like Crystal Palace aren't scrubs. And then they go and get City. I can't remember game week 2. I think Sheffield haven't won a game, have they? Sheffield, what did they do? They lost 2-1 to Forest and did
Sheffield, Burnley, and Everton haven't won a game,
Yeah, but I think there's a world where with Sheffield, once they get their fixtures with their players all integrated, then at home they're not a bad shout. So yeah,
don't mind it. Yeah, fair play.
Alrighty. Well, I don't think we've got any questions this week anyway, unless anything's come through on Twitter, Dom, which I Don't think so
Nah.
anyway. Alrighty.
Nah, I
So
think
have
we're
you
good.
guys got any last minute advice for our listeners ahead of Game Week 4, Damo? I can see you've added your screen. So let's throw that back up.
Here we
Go
go.
for it.
Just saying, in Game Week 6, if I sell Cobra, I get Trippier with no money in the bank, and all of a sudden I got stupid swapping in and out with over Archer or somebody have a good fixture, and you still get Bournemouth as well. And the week after that, you get Archer against a West Ham side that can leak, right? And then after that, you get Fulham, you get Everton, and the stupid, you just pick and choose when to play, or you sell him. But that allows me to get double Newcastle if Botman's fit, and it allows me to keep the big five, and it allows me to still keep Salah. And I think that it's not the worst thing in the world.
I think that long term covers those big bases as well. It covers a Man United attacker, it covers an Arsenal attacker, it covers a Liverpool attacker, which, for as bad as Liverpool have been defensively, we're still creating chances and we're still scoring goals. And there's going to be a point where, there has to be a point where defenses start giving Luis Diaz more credit. There's going to be a world where Darwin Núñez starts getting more minutes, and I actually think he suits our system better than Gakpo. I'm not convinced by Cody Gakpo.
Yeah, they've looked a lot better.
Jota's not a 9 as well. Like, I prefer Jota off either wing anyway. We've tried Jota through the 9, didn't like it. We've tried Gakpo now through the 9, didn't like it. Got to give it to Darwin. Like, I know it's reactionary, he scored a double, but we know what Darwin offers. Darwin gives us explosive, high XG, high opportunities, and if he's going to start taking, and he presses and he suits the system, we need to win the ball high up the pitch, and we're not doing that at the moment. And we're creating problems for ourselves defensively because we're not winning the ball high up the pitch. But Darwin, if he's going to start taking these chances, he's going to be an XG machine. And at 7.4, I think he is. He had a price drop. He could be someone post wildcard that you ride out with those fixtures if he's nailed. We got Europa League. He ain't going to play Europa League.
No, I would agree. I think wildcard is going to be interesting when you get to Game Week 9, and this is where
I'm holding off as long as possible because I'm happy with my base and my team.
And this is the thing: if there's ever a time to get aggressive, wildcard territory is only around the corner. So get aggressive if you really want to as well. Yeah,
but if you've got no problems, don't rush it as well. Like, if you're happy, I can get Matoma out. Really, I don't have any. Matoma and Pickford are my problems. Like, I look at the rest of my team. I don't want to move Saka out. I don't want to move Mbeumo out. I don't want to move Salah out. Jackson, Haaland, awesome. Chilwell, you're dodgy. Vardiol, we're stupid. And I probably just want some better rotation on my bench instead of Bayer and Anderson and Pedro. That's where I'm at. So I'm going to be working at my bench cover more than anything at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think I'm looking at trying to sell Salah, and I can't sell him against Villa. Can't sell him against Wolves. Can't sell him against West Ham. Definitely not selling him against Spurs. Our Spurs defend with their fullbacks. And then, am I really selling him for Brighton when they play Everton the week after?
Yeah, and then Forest, Luton, Brentford.
Oh, yeah. That's why I want a wildcard in Game Week 9. If I was to sell Salah, I'm definitely wildcarding in Game Week 9 because I'm actually captaining Salah, Everton, Forest, and Luton.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you all for listening. If you've been listening over this whole time on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you jump over to FPL Dopata on YouTube and Twitter and follow all the socials and subscribe because you can watch us do this now on the weekly as well. We're back up and firing on the streams. Thanks for those that have joined us in the chat as well. Make sure you share it around. What was that, Dom?
Dim's.
Oh, yeah, Dim's been here. I've popped a few of Dim's questions up on the screen. So if you do want that and have that interaction with us live, make sure you get in the live chat on FPL Dopata over on YouTube. But once again, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys next week for the international break and a bit of a rundown of Game Week 4.